ICU says no to weaning from ventilator or tracheostomy. Take your loved one home safely. My name is Patrik Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com, where we provide tailor-made solutions for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies, also for adults and children on BiPAP, CPAP ventilation without tracheostomy, tracheostomy care without ventilation, high-flow nasal oxygen like Airvo, home TPN, home IV potassium, home IV magnesium, home IV antibiotic infusions, cough assist management at home, central line, PICC line management, Hickman's line, as well as port management at home, nasogastric tube, nasojejunostomy tube, PICC, pitch tube management, ventilation, weaning at home, as well as palliative care at home. So today's topic is, again, ICU says no weaning from ventilator or tracheostomy. Take your loved one home instead safely. So I have received an email from a reader who says, "Hi, Patrik. Can we please get on another call? It's really an emergency. The ICU doctors say my husband only has a slim chance of being weaned from his ventilator and tracheostomy. He has now been ventilated for 45 days, and now they say he can't be weaned off at all. They want to send him to rehab or palliative care, but we don't think that'll help. There's no consistency in ICU. Different doctors and nurses come and go. Can we take him home with intensive care at home instead and have a consistent team of ICU nurses we can trust?" Now, if you've been following my videos for a while, you'll know that this is a very common situation in ICU. After 45 days of ventilation and a tracheostomy, most ICUs unfortunately lose hope. They start talking about palliative care. No further progress. They're talking about patients won't have any quality of life. At least that's the perception from the ICU team. But what they're not telling you is that there's a safe and proven alternative. And that's where we come in with intensive care at home. Because at intensive care at home, we are the only specialist service that provides 24/7 intensive care nurses at home for adults and children on long-term invasive ventilation with tracheostomy, BiPAP or CPAP non-invasive ventilation, tracheostomy care without ventilation, long-term oxygen or high-flow nasal cannula therapy like the Airvo and so forth. We bring the ICU level care into the comfort of your home with consistency, safety, so that you can stay at home predictably and permanently with family involvement. And let's be honest, many patients simply can't be weaned in ICU because the environment is too busy, too noisy, too impersonal. Hospitals and ICUs in particular are not designed for long-term rehabilitation or emotional healing. A lot of patients in ICU, as well as their families, are traumatized. We've had countless and have countless clients with intensive care at home who couldn't be weaned in ICU, but once they came home with intensive care at home, they improved, stabilized, and in some cases, especially pediatric cases, we even weaned them off the ventilator successfully at home. And here is why home care works much better. Fewer, if no, infections. Home care is much safer than an ICU full of patients with infections. Better quality of life because the family is involved, not restricted by ICU or hospital visiting hours. Consistency of care because you get a stable, dedicated team of ICU nurses at home. Hospital bed substitution funded through NDIS, TAC, DVA, iCare, and hospitals. Evidence-based, we work according to the evidence-based mechanical home ventilation guidelines that you can find on our website. We are also the only service provider in Australia in 2025 that is actually third-party accredited for intensive care at home nursing. We have built all the policies, procedures, and we have the intellectual property that is needed to provide intensive care at home nursing. So yes, if ICU says your loved one can't be weaned or needs palliative care, that doesn't mean it's the end. You can absolutely bring your family member home safely with intensive care at home. We will provide the ICU nurses, the equipment, the training for our staff and the support you need to make it a success in your own home. We help you to talk to the ICU team, to the funding bodies, set up a discharge plan, and make home care happen quickly, safely, and effectively. Now, With intensive care at home, we are currently sending our ICU and critical care nurses into the home 24 hours a day. We are providing the following: home care services for ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies with critical care nurses 24 hours a day. A genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care or long-term acute care, tracheostomy care for clients without ventilation, home care services for patients on non-invasive ventilation such as home BiPAP, home CPAP, home TPN, which is also known as IV nutrition, home IV potassium and home IV magnesium infusions, IV fluids, and IV antibiotics. We are providing central line management, PICC line management, Hickman's line management, as well as port management at home. We're providing nasogastric tube and PEC tube management at home, the use of cough assist machines for our clients for airway clearance at home, palliative care services at home, as well as ventilator weaning at home. We're also sending our critical care nurses into the home for emergency department bypass services. We have done so successfully as part of the Western Sydney Local Area Health District, their In Touch program, saving approximately $2,000 per patient that we keep at home instead of them going to an emergency department. That also means we're in a position to cut the cost of an intensive care bed by around 50%. An intensive care bed costs between $5,000 to $6,000 per bed day. Our service costs between $2,500 to $3,000 per bed day, and we're freeing up the most sought after bed in the hospital, which is the ICU bed. Most importantly, we're improving the quality of life for patients and their families, which is a win-win situation for all stakeholders. Of course, quality of life is much improved surrounded by families and by a team of dedicated intensive care nurses in the home care setting instead of in an intensive care unit. With intensive care at home, we are currently operating all around Australia in all major capital cities as well as in all regional and rural areas. We work with NDIS clients all around Australia, TAC and WorkSafe in Victoria, Department of Veteran Affairs all around Australia. Our clients and we as a service provider have also received funding through public hospitals, private health funds, as well as departments of health. We are having policies and procedures for intensive care at home nursing, and we've built all the intellectual property for intensive care at home since 2012. No other provider in Australia has created more intellectual property when it comes to intensive care at home nursing than we have. This puts us in a position to employ hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined in the community. No other service provider in 2025 employs a higher skill level in the community than we do, which enables us to look after the highest acuity adults and children in the community in Australia safely. So if you're at home already, and if you're watching this, or you're stuck in an ICU long-term, or if you're going to hospital and ED all the time, and you realize that you don't have the right level of support at home, or if you are stuck in an ICU, I'll give you a real-world example today how we can help you. One of our first clients when we first got started in 2012 was a client who was at home initially on a ventilator with a tracheostomy with a support worker model 24/7. Of course, support workers are not equipped to look after a client at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. That is dangerous and it's simply negligent. Having support workers looking after a client at home on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is like flying the airplane with the cabin crew instead of the pilot. Because anyone on a ventilator with a tracheostomy is at very high risk of medical emergencies 24/7, or even at high risk of dying if they don't have a team of dedicated critical care nurses looking after them 24/7 at home. This is actually evidence-based and is documented in our mechanical home ventilation guidelines that you can find on our website at intensivecarehome.com. Think about it. In an intensive care unit in a hospital, you wouldn't have support workers looking after your critically ill loved one or after any critically ill patient on a ventilator with a tracheostomy. So why would anyone in their right mind do that in a home care environment in the community? So this client at the time found out about us eventually, and the ICU that he was basically living in also knew about us and eventually reached out to us. And we were proving our concept with this client very fast. When we worked with this particular client, we sent him critical care nurses 24 hours a day, and he never ever went back into ICU ever again as long as we were working with this client. We can do the same for you if you're not safe at home and help you with keeping you at home predictably. Otherwise, we would not be in business. Again, the same is applicable for those stuck in an ICU, similar to this case study that I've just given you. Or if you're going back to ED all the time, please reach out to us. We can help you with taking you through the right steps, including how to get funding with different funding bodies. This is also why we are providing NDIS support coordination. We have a team of NDIS support coordinators, and they have a wealth of knowledge. I've done an interview with Amanda Richards, one of our NDIS support coordinators, and I'll put a link to an interview with Amanda in the written version of this blog. We're also providing TAC case management and WorkSafe case management in Victoria with Lucy McCodder. If you're an NDIS support coordinator or a case manager from another organization watching this and you're looking for nursing care for your participants, please reach out to us as well. If you need more evidence for nursing care, we are also writing NDIS nursing assessments with legal nurse, critical care consulting nurses. If you are a critical care nurse and you're looking for a career change and you want to join a very progressive, dynamic and high-performing team of critical care nurses in the community, we're employing hundreds of years of critical care nursing experience combined. You can join this high-performing team if you are a critical care nurse. If you are looking for a career change as a critical care nurse, we're currently hiring for jobs for critical care nurses in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, in Albury, Wodonga, in Bendigo, in Geelong, in Warragul, in Victoria. If you have worked in critical care nursing for a minimum of 2 years, pediatric ICU, ED, and you have already completed a postgraduate critical care nursing qualification, we will be delighted hearing from you. I do have a disclaimer though, because we are offering a tailor-made solution for our clients, which includes regular staff. Our clients also do want the same staff coming over and over again because they are so vulnerable and so special. That's why we need regular staff. So if you're looking for agency work where you can come and go, this will not be the right fit for you. We are looking for consistency and our clients are looking for consistency. So please only apply with us if you can give us regular and consistent availabilities for shifts and you're really keen on building solid relationships with us and with our clients. If you're an intensive care specialist or an ED specialist, we also want to hear from you. We're currently expanding our medical team as well. We can also help you eliminate your bed blocks in your ICU and in your ED for your long-term patients or for your regularly readmitting patients with our critical care nursing team at home. We're here to help you take the pressure off your ICU and ED beds, and in most cases, you won't even pay for it. Even if you do pay for it, it is so much more cost-effective than what you're paying for in ICU and ED, and you get the same level of care. And if you're a hospital executive watching this and you have bed blocks in your ICU, ED, and respiratory wards, or for home TPN, please reach out to us as well. We can help you eliminate your bed blocks very fast. If you're in the US and in the UK, and you're watching this and you need help, we want to hear from you as well. We can help you there privately with one-on-one consulting and with hiring nurses privately. Once again, our website is intensivecareathome.com. Call us on one of the numbers on the top of our website or simply send us an email to info@intensivecareathome.com. And if you like my videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel for regular updates for families with intensive care at home and intensive care. Click the like button, click the notification bell, share this video with your friends and families, and comment below what you want to see next or what questions and insights you have from this video. Thank you so much for watching. This is Patrik Hutzel from intensivecareathome.com, and I will talk to you in a few days. Take care for now.